Thank you guys for watching the Animal One Guy YouTube videos. If you like this video, please leave a like and even comment below. And if you like all my content, please hit the subscribe button. And why not click the bell icon for notifications too? That way you can see all my videos. Give me the ball. Hi everyone. I know you're all looking at the title of the video. You know, Simba, my male Savannah monitor, where has he been? People want to know. So he's okay. I'm going to tell you everything that's been going on with him, and we can get there, and then I will show him briefly at the end. But we're going to condense everything down, and then I'll explain it. So yes, Simba, my male Savannah monitor, was egg-bound. What does this mean? How does this happen? So if you recall on the one live stream, during the live stream, Nala actually started to lay eggs. And I collected them. She laid not in October when Savannah monitors are supposed to lay eggs. She laid, the end of February. And then a couple days later. Now, I did put a nest box in right away, and she laid a lot in the nest box. But she laid some eggs outside of the nest box when I didn't know she would be laying. And I did dig through and sift through and found as many of the eggs as I could, with the thought that, they're infertile eggs. I don't want them to stay in here and rot. Now, Simba also dug and found some eggs, probably before me, and ate them. We know he ate the eggs. Now, let's remember, that's natural. Savannah monitors can eat eggs. I have fed him much larger eggs. Completely natural to happen in the wild as well, and eggs can be fed to monitor lizards in captivity as well. They severely upset his stomach, as I've seen with the bearded dragon eggs, and in a few hours he pooped out a ton of eggs as if he was laying them. And he went back to normal, eating like normal, pooping and peeing like normal, so passing stool and passing urate. Fine. Then, and eating a lot, like his normal much, so much so that he went into a full body shed. At the time he went into the full body shed, at this time of year, I would cut back on their feeding, and I like to drop Simba down to about 6 pounds. And then during the active season, he'll put his weight back up. And then when he's less active because of the winter and the cold weather, I can't exercise him outside. And as we know, Savannah monitors tend to have fat problems. They can make fat very quickly. Natural in the wild, I've talked about diapause. So I got him to his target weight, and then came the time of, now I want to start putting weight back on you. But he wasn't eating, but he was drinking. And his whole body was shedding. You can look at the videos. I mean, the whole thing was like one big skin suit. Very normal for reptiles to not eat when they're shedding because they're very uncomfortable. But he was still drinking on his own, passing full, healthy stools. So let's let that run a little bit. Well, he finished shedding the stuff that was ready to shed. And now he's starting to drop weight from 6 pounds, and he's getting 5 3/4. And offering him food, he doesn't want the food, but he actively drinks, and again, still pooping. So what's wrong with him? Could he just be not wanting to eat? Very normal for reptiles to also just not eat for a little bit. But because he's pooping and peeing, actively moving around and drinking all on his own, walking around outside, etc., the thought is nothing is wrong. Then he starts to become very lethargic and stop drinking. On the day where I saw him where he was lethargic and when he didn't want any water, immediately scheduled a vet appointment, and we got in the next morning. Perfect. Go there. We're going to have everything run because he's my baby boy. We're going to have everything run. Blood work, we're doing a full CBC. We're also checking electrolyte status. We're doing an ultrasound with Xrays. We're doing a fecal, even though I do their fecal, send it out to the lab so they can do the protozoa test. which is another test that we can't see, and they might as well do the normal one there. Now, I had done his fecal completely clear, and I actually had just, normally you can do a fecal in minutes. I stared at this slide for 30 minutes, hoping to find something. Find nothing. We get the X-rays, everything looks fine. Don't see anything out of the ordinary. Ultrasound was also fine. And you have to wait. We got the blood work back the next day. All of his blood work normal, and of course his fecal clear. Normal blood work. No elevated white blood cell count. White blood cells look normal. No cancer cells, nothing. Fecal completely clear. X-ray looks clear. This is a key here. Looks clear, which also helps us put things together. And nothing is there. But he's losing weight. So immediately we wanted steps to correct this. We need to keep him hydrated and keep him eating. So we got carnivore critical care. Well, that it's just a powdered supplement. Mix it up. Feed it to him in a syringe. And so that's going to, because you're mixing it with water, good. And I mix a little probiotic in there, and I put this electrolyte powder in there. Start that. And in the beginning, boom, quick turnaround. Everything was looking good. And another big poop. We'll call this phase 1. But then, not good. Then we took a big turn for the worse as Simba was starting to throw up constantly. And it was very scary for me. And he couldn't sleep. He would wake up, and all during the day, he would hold his head straight up. And that was to try to prevent himself from throwing up. And then eventually I'd see him gag and just cough out bile. In the nighttime, I'd wake up and he would just be in a puddle of throw up that he slept in, of just bile. What's going on here? Could it be he was doing good on the critical care? Could be he's nauseated. So, and I'll show you the things after. Don't worry, we're going to get visual here. Anti-nausea medication I've got to smash up for him and put in with the critical care. Feed that to him. And actually on the first night, that was good. He ate and he slept good. Awesome. With the anti-nausea. And then, you're going to keep that on to him. I had to take this little pill, break it into 4, turn it into powder, mix it in, boom. But then the nausea and the throwing up came back. We do go back in for another set of X-rays to see what's going on. And the first vet said, sometimes they just get sick and they die and we never know why. This set of X-ray is interesting. We see 2 masses just outside of where his stomach should be that are not normal, and they shouldn't be there. They weren't on the X-ray from a year ago, and they weren't on the X-ray from last week. So the vet says, we don't know, because of their area, they're right where the kidneys are supposed to be, and it could be whatever. So exploratory surgery would be recommended, but let's go to an even more specialist first. And also at this point, Simba is dehydrated. He's thrown up. We go to the specialist. We X-ray, and they have a really good ultrasound machine. We find these masses. We isolate these masses. I can feel these masses. We look at the X-ray and at the ultrasound. They look like eggs, and I will put the X-rays up. Perfect female Savannah monitor eggs. He needs exploratory surgery. That's what we said. We tried one other thing when we were there. We gave him an enema, but the cloaca opening kind of goes to a pouch. We'll call it like their rectum. And that's kind of the storage pouch. And that storage pouch has a bunch of different tubes basically running to it. More if they're female. Their urinary tract, right? So the urethras come to it for their pee. Reproductive organs come to it, oviducts, etc., and then the small intestine. So when you go in there for an enema and you just squirt water into the rectum area, it going up the small intestine can be very rare unless you really get in there with a scope first to see where to place the catheter, and then you got to know which of these, pipes you're going up. So we did an enema. We tried to move the masses down. They didn't move. So we need to do exploratory surgery, but he's too dehydrated and he's too weak for exploratory surgery. It will kill him. Reptiles have a very hard time with anesthesia. Surgeries are actually very easy, and they can recover from the surgeries very well. It's that anesthesia that's the killer, being cold-blooded here. So we got to move on this quite quickly. So we put him on a very aggressive 1-week plan to lead into surgery, where I will be giving him multiple injections, sub-Q injections, so just under the skin, of fluids, saline solution. He's going to get 44 cc a day. Boom, 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 boom. 4 syringes. And then every 3 days, he's going to get calcium and an antibiotic. That way we can get the calcium will help him hydrate and get, energy and some vitamins. They need calcium. The hydration's obviously just going to hydrate him up. And the antibiotic, we're going to load his system with the right amount of antibiotics before the surgery to make sure he doesn't get infected during the surgery and after and everything. So we're kind of getting ahead of it there. So, and actually, looks-wise, giving him these fluids turned him around a lot. Moving around, his eyes are fully clear, looks good, and his strength came back. Not to full, but way better, because the first days of giving him these surgeries was not good. And to poke a Savannah monitor, here, let me show you. If you want to be scared, this is what we're dealing with. 22 gauge and 18 gauge. And I'll kind of go over what happened with that. So I would draw, but these are his injections. Goodness gracious. When you puncture through anything with your needle, it dulls, right? So what I would do is I became like the vet supply house. And if you've never seen an 18 gauge needle, it's a big, huge, scary needle. I mean, it's massive. So the antibiotic, though, was thick. And this is the needle the vet said to use because it will squirt out the side of a 22. Unless you use a Lure-Lock syringe. Ta-da! More expensive, but the needle screws into it instead of just sitting on top like these, so it doesn't push off. So if you've got to give something thick, but you want a higher gauge needle so that way the needle is smaller, easier to penetrate, and less hurtful, Lure-Lock syringe. So he's giving him these injections. These he's getting every day. These he's getting every 3. Okay, great. He takes it very well. His strength is coming back because he used to just lay there. Now he's stronger. He's moving. He's resisting getting injected, and the injections hurt him. You're poking the skin. I had to inject one inside each armpit and then on his back. It looked like he was getting silicone implants for boobs. Looked like he had boobs, 11 cc's in each one, and he was absorbing it really quick. So that was good. So we went back after a week, another set of X-rays. Those masses are still there, but he's cleared for surgery. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, check him in for surgery. They keep him overnight so that way they can prep him. Thursday morning, surgery. Here's the scary part. Thursday morning, surgery. Get a call after the surgery. I'm told the surgery was great and that they're closed. There were 2 eggs. We'll show those off. I'll show off the X-rays and then the eggs all at the end. You'll get to see the cool stuff. Trust me. They removed the 2 eggs. The only thing was these eggs were just stuck to the intestines, stuck to the walls of the intestines. And so much so they wouldn't move at all. So when the doctor, there's one larger egg and one smaller egg. He cuts a slot, pops the larger egg out, and what he just wanted to do was slide the smaller egg to that hole and pop it. Wouldn't even slide. It was just completely adhered. Cuts 2 slots, boom, boom. His intestines shrink down, sutures them with dissolvable sutures, sutures the outside. That went perfect. Now we're in the 50-50 game, waking up from the anesthesia. So I get a call later that night. They kept people with him. and said, you know, this is going to be the last call because the overnight staff will call you in the morning. He's extubated because they breathe for him. His heart rate is good. We've given him all the wake-up meds that he can get, but he's barely breathing. How well do you think I slept? They said, honestly, it's 50-50 at this point, which it would have been 0. It's 50-50 at this point, but for larger lizards, this is not uncommon. He's larger. They have to give a large amount of anesthesia. Smaller lizards, they said the surgeries are actually easier, a little bit of anesthesia done. So they said it's up to him now to wake up from the anesthesia. They can't give him any more wake-up meds. But his heart is so strong that they said it would be good. And the doctor, when he removed those, he looked at everything because you've got his abdomen open. No fat anywhere, healthy kidneys, healthy liver, super healthy lungs, super healthy heart. So he had a good feeling, but it's anesthesia and it's reptiles. So I didn't know this because I have to wait all morning, but at midnight, he started fully breathing perfectly. I don't find this out till 9 a.m. Needless to say, I didn't sleep. So he comes back home. I'll show him off at the very end. He's loopy because it's an hour and a half drive to the surgeon. Before the surgery, they loaded him up on fluids and everything and some pain relievers. And then this morning, the day when they did rounds, they gave him some more fluids, sub-Q, and a heavy dose of pain reliever. Because I've got the ride home, he's going to be in a tub and you're bouncing. So they said, so that's what they do. They said he's just going to be lazy for a day. Tomorrow, he'll be halfway on lazy, and by the other day, good. So what's his protocol? 1 week, his intestines will heal. He can't eat for 1 week. After a week, I can feed him the critical care until that goes away, basically, and then we should feed him normal. But he can drink as much as he wants, but I have to empty his water tub so he doesn't soak for his stitches. In 6 weeks, the internal stitches are dissolvable. They said the intestines seal up and heal very quickly. 4 or 5 days, those should be good. The outer intestines, 6 weeks, those will stay, or the outer intestines, the outer stitches, 6 weeks, those will stay in. And then you can come back or go to a local vet to have them removed. So we're going to cut, and I will show you the eggs. And then we will show you the X-rays, and then we will show you Simba in some type of order, but Simba will be last. Guys, this is just a random cut in the video, and you can tell it's shot at a slightly different time. And I feel I didn't have this part in the original video, but I was bombarded. So while doing the editing, I'm filming this, but people have already donated, and people have been asking what was the cost of the surgery and all the vet visits combined, and is there a way we can help donate to, cover Simba's cost? Well, nobody has to donate. I want to make that very clear, and that's why I didn't do this at the beginning. But yes, it was expensive, between driving out of state for the vets, taking time off work, all the medications, and the vet appointments themselves. Simba's combined total of this vet adventure comes to just about $5,000. I hate even saying it, like, gut punch. But if you want to donate, there are 2 ways that you can donate. If you want to join Patreon and donate even up to $1 a month, the link is in the description. If you just want to donate a chunk of change to GoFundMe, that link is in the description. Please, if you do any, Patreon has the link to the Discord on it, but even if you leave a donation on the GoFundMe, if you want to join the Discord, which is normally for people who donate on Patreon, but it would be the same thing, please put in your GoFundMe little blurb that you'd like the Discord link, and I'll make sure we get the link out to you so you can join and be a permanent member of the Discord. You don't have to worry about that. Alright guys, thank you so much if anyone chooses to donate. You're already also generous just by watching the videos, subscribing, liking the videos, spreading the content, and hopefully we can use this video to make people more aware that this can happen. Take care, everybody. Alright, let's look at these X-rays now, and
this is why we're going to fall into the hard parts now is, and this is what was so frustrating, is sometimes, guys, the bodies will calcify and, wrap things that shouldn't be there, and then you'll actually be able to see them. But so you always try to start as non-invasive as possible. So we go ahead and we look at these x-rays and top down, and I've done it so the tail is kind of at the bottom, head is at the top, and when they're a horizontal x-ray, we're trying to have the head at the left. Okay, so what do we see? Well, we see a perfectly healthy looking body cavity, right? We see big set of lungs, the rib cage, all no MBD, everything looks super healthy here. Vertebrae going down for a spinal cord, everything looks great. We flip to the second x-ray, same day, so we're still in the same area. We come down, everything is looking just fine. We don't see anything. Simba, moved a little bit for this x-ray. Again, everything looks nice and normal. Organs look normal. Everything is in the position it should be. Fine. Third x-ray, again, same day. Everything looks great. Okay, these are where things are going to change now. First set of the next x-ray, a week after the first set, and boom. Now we see two masses right in the bottom left. You can see them there. They stick out like a sore thumb. And when we're looking at these, we're like, well, now what is this? And the questions came up of, because they look like they're pretty near the pelvis, right? Well, they end up not being during the surgery. But when we look at these areas, now we see a mass that wasn't here a week ago. We see two masses. And now the possibilities start to fly up. Could they be just urates, though? Because they could. And so the first thing that's asked on a big lizard is, when he pees, does he pass big urates? Well, yeah, he does, because he is big, he drinks a lot of water. So this is now the area that we're going to monitor. We're monitoring the monitor, because we have these two masses here. They don't look perfectly egg-shaped, but they're two masses right there, and they could be urates because it's been a while since he peed. So the goal is going to become, let's watch him go to the bathroom once and see if he passes urates and stool, and then we'll take another x-ray after this happens. So this is the same day, a little bit different view. You can see them just over in that area. All right, fine. Different day now. And this is after he's passed his urates. And we go ahead and we look, and boom, there are the masses still. And from this view, they look like they could be eggs. But they could also be a couple other things. Now, timeline-wise, eggs are definitely a possibility. But why would they have gotten stuck, right? And again, we want to try to do as non-invasive as possible first, but we know that we have a timeline here, okay? That's the big deal. We know that we have a timeline because if they're eggs, they could be rotting. Spoiler alert, they are. Same set of x-rays. Where are the masses? That's what we're looking for. You can see them just at the bottom there, but they're not always super easy to see. And are they moving? That's another question. So this is our first horizontal one, and boom, we can see the eggs-shaped objects. And when we see them like this is what an egg-bound female's x-ray would look like, except typically there would be a lot more eggs. Now, the things are going through our mind, though, of, all right, at this point, we need to prep Simba for exploratory surgery, and we're going to do a couple things during this prep. Because let's go by, we're going to do the shotgun approach here, and what these things could be. So a couple things go into it. Could be some organs, but his kidneys are not in that area. They're more towards the middle. Could be eggs, could be tumors, or could be abscess. We're going to look at those things. Now, tumors, highly unlikely because of the blood, the CBC. We didn't see any elevation for tumors. Abscesses, we didn't see any white blood cell elevation, but maybe they're abscesses that haven't popped at all, haven't leaked, could be cysts. So we're going to give him an antibiotic, we're going to give him the fluids, and we're going to give him the calcium. The calcium in the fluids are to just make him more stable to survive the XLAP, and the antibiotic is going to load him up. But also, if they are abscesses, we should see them shrink as well. So this is we're in surgery prep mode. Same day, look from above, and you can see the masses. But here's the thing: they look like they have moved. They're not always in the exact same spot. So the thought is maybe they're not in the digestive tract. Maybe this is something free-floating in the abdomen because they're not always in the exact same area. This is a week after we put him on his stability plan for surgery. And we've given Simba an enema to see if these objects really move down. They didn't move down, although poop did come out, so a lot of the enema fluid probably did actually go up into the intestine. But these were eggs that were latched to the side of the small intestine. So we see the masses, again, in a slightly different area, but we're just looking at them, and we can see, yeah, okay, this is good. They're still there. They're still exactly where they need to be, and we're prepping him for, he's prepped, he's stable for surgery. So this is the last one where we really zoomed in to get a measurement, and there they are, looking like eggs, but Simba is stable enough for surgery, and we're going to go ahead with the surgery and get these two things removed.
Okay, I'm going to show you these eggs, but warning, this could be gross. But also, if you could leave a comment that says, "Get well, Simba," we'd greatly appreciate it. Here's the eggs. Now, they're black, right? Because they were in his intestines and poop and everything. So I'm going to clean them off and put them in a thing of formaldehyde. But yeah, these are the two eggs completely attached to his intestines. Now, it's weird. These are not big. The surgeon guy is very confused because they should be able to eat these, and they're soft. There's no reason why these couldn't go through. They're infertile eggs. He should be able to digest them, but he didn't. As you know, he pooped a bunch out, but then they got latched. This is what the surgeon thinks may have happened, is that these two, for whatever reason, stayed in his stomach and started to go rot in his stomach and then calcify a little bit. And then when they got moved into the intestines because they started to calcify, they got latched to the side, which is why it threw us all for a loop in the medical, because he was pooping up until a point, so probably up until he's got to a certain point in his intestines a month after eating them, and then had the blockage happen. Okay, guys, I'm going to show Simba. We're going to be more quiet because remember, he's loopy. This is reptile anesthesia can take up to 24 hours to fully wear off on larger lizards, and he's been given a lot of pain reliever, and he just had surgery yesterday. So I don't want anyone to be shocked when they see him. He's drowsy. He's asleep. They also cut his nails so he wouldn't, rip his stitches. But he just looks here and he's just laying down. He looks perfectly healthy, especially when you know what's going on, but he doesn't look like his cheery self. So here he is. He may open his eye, he may not. He's just basically napping, but he's really good. He's got to recover, obviously, but once all the big drugs from the surgery are fully out of his system, he'll be more active. Now, I had to put towels down because obviously his stitches are on his abdomen, and you want to try to keep them as clean as possible. This is a precaution. Reptiles, their stitches, because they have scales, their skin is different. It's not like a wet wound. It's probably fine not to do this, but why not do it? So he's on a little pillow with some blankets, and he's just going to absorb his UVB and be on the heat mat, which is under here. It's about 105-ish degrees at the hottest spot, so he can, heal and metabolize all the drugs so they get out of him. But yeah, he's really good, so he's recovering. Thanks, guys, so much. Now, some people have asked, hey, You know, do you think he'll make it? He's not 100% out of the woods, but we would say his odds now went from 0 with keeping those in to 50-50 after the surgery for the anesthesia to about 99% chance of full recovery here. Awesome. Thank you guys for supporting my reptile rescue family.